or land a helicopter at Cape Kennedy. Fire the rockets, back the space missile into the launching pad, and start the countdown. It's off into space. Zoom! Get Fort Apache. Get the Fighting Knights. Get the Boot Camp. Get Cape Kennedy. Get all four and carry your own world of action wherever you go. The Rugged Steel Carry-All Action Playsets by Marx. And carry...
Say, kids, what is it up in the sky? Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's Superman. Yes, sir, kids, a real flying Superman that can be yours. Looks just like Superman himself. He's made of tough blue plastic and has a bright red cape that fits on his shoulders. With your flying Superman, you get a powerful launcher to send him sky high, zooming through space just like Superman does in his adventures. Now, you'll want to be one of the first to have your own flying Superman, so listen carefully, because here's all you do to get yours. Send one box top from Kellogg's Corn Flakes and just 10 cents. That's one box top and just 10 cents to Flying Superman, Box 330, Battle Creek, Michigan. Or use the handy order blank right on the Kellogg's Corn Flakes package. Get your Flying Superman from Kellogg's now.
The Remco Movie Land Drive-In Theater is straight ahead. Here it is now, Betty. Today's double feature. Have Gun Will Travel and Heckle and Jekyll. It looks terrific, Jimmy. Drive right in and park. Let me show you how it works. Switch on the projector, turn the film knob, and you'll see 6 exciting still features. Have Gun Will Travel and Heckle and Jekyll. Captain Kangaroo and Dinky Duck. Mighty Mouse and Farmer Alfalfa. Golly, what clear, big pictures. This Remco Movie Land Drive-In Theater has everything. 6 complete features. Its own giant screen, projection booth, marquee that changes, ticket window, and 6 beautiful cars. Be the first in your neighborhood to own and operate a Remco Movie Land Drive-In Theater. Only $5.98 at your favorite toy store. Remember, every boy wants a Remco toy. And so do girls.
Slinky toys are fun toys. What walks downstairs alone or in pairs and makes a slinkety sound. A spring, a marvelous thing. Everyone knows it's Slinky. It gives a big lift when wrapped as a gift. A very likable toy. It's falling in place, brings smiles to your face. Something kids can enjoy. It's Slinky, it's Slinky. For fun, it's a wonderful toy. It's Slinky, it's Slinky. It's fun for a girl and a boy. And Slinky mobiles with big slinky wheels and pistons that move as you go. It makes a great sound when you pull it around. The driver's an old-timey fellow. A slinky dog, a slinky train, many more wonderful toys. You tug the string, they do their thing. They're great for girls and boys. They're slinkies, really wonderful toys. They're slinkies, they're fun for girls and boys. Slinky, Slinky Dog, Slinky Mobile, all Slinky toys sold separately by James Industries.
Hello there. You know, I've been all around this wonderful world of ours, and in all of this world, nothing else is silly putty. What is silly putty? Well, it's a real solid liquid. If you pull it so, it'll go forever, like taffy. But if you give it a sharp tug, it'll break like a biscuit. Now, when you make silly putty round and drop it, it'll bounce higher than a rubber ball. And here's something else you can do with silly putty. Flatten it, press a picture in your newspaper, lift it, stretch it this way and that, and you'll get something that's really funny. Always put your silly putty back in its egg, or it will run slowly away. You can buy silly putty for $1 wherever toys are sold. And remember, nothing else is silly putty.
Still tied score. And here's the tie-breaking question for Penella with her magic Etch-a-Sketch and her opponent Maximilian with his magnetic Magna-Sticks. Ready? Draw or build the biggest animal in the jungle. It's the elephant. They're both right. How do they do it? Etch-a-Sketch draws and writes like magic. Turn the knobs and the lines go up and down and all around. No crayons, no chalks, never any mess. Turn Etch-a-Sketch upside down and shake, and everything disappears. Magnastix builds things magnetically. No nails, no screws, no messy glue. You get over 100 pieces to make trains, planes, animals, dolls, and pretty designs. Develop artistic and scientific skills with Etch-a-Sketch and Magnastix. They're kid-tested toys from the Ohio Art Company. Hi-yo!
The toys of tomorrow will be of every description, and so realistic, you can hardly tell them from the real thing. There will be comical animals like Mighty Mouse who can carry on a conversation or fly through the air with the greatest of ease. You'll find a lot more Wild West action at Fort Laramie. This famous headquarters is now fighting off a band of 30 Redskins, and it has all the equipment, including an operating cannon, to wage a realistic cowboy and Indian battle. More up to date will be this flying boxcar and combat team. It has a howitzer, radar-controlled equipment, and an atomic cannon. See this giant army transport with revolving propellers? Well, the exciting part of this toy is that within a few seconds, all the pieces can be put into the fuselage, ready to fly off to a new battlefield. Someday in the future, scientists will be firing satellites into space. And one of the new toys certainly will be a satellite launcher truck. The truck will have 4 flying saucers. They can be mounted onto a launching platform. Wind it. Aim it, press the control button, and off it goes into the stratosphere. Well, if not the stratosphere, for a distance of 75 feet anyway. Ideal's Sky Sweeper will be a modernistic anti-aircraft truck that plots the enemy with a secret searchlight. It's really a film projector. 6 different enemy targets can be screened on the wall. First, load your Nike rockets. Then zero the enemy in through a crosshair sighting device. When the target has been tracked, blast away. Fire 1. Fire 2. Some people say toys of the future will blow up the Earth. They're right, for here's a globe intended to be blown up. Light as a beach ball, yet it's authentic in every detail, with over 2,000 names of oceans, countries, and cities. It will even have a wrought iron stand. It's typical of the ingenious toys of tomorrow, educational and lots of fun. What will they think of next? Well, if they can improve on these ideas, I'll be a monkey's uncle.
Space Patrollers, you're about to witness the unveiling of a top secret, a scientific marvel that will take you through all space and time, the rocket cockpit. It's an exact scale model of the cockpit of the new XRC, and it's for you.
That's right, gang. You can have a rocket cockpit. You can set it to controls just the way I do aboard the XRC.
Just go to nuts.com to get free shipping on your first order. That's nuts.com, nuts.com.
Geek To Me Radio, da 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 da. Domo arigato, Geek To Me Radio, da 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 da.
If you're driving around the greater St. Louis area listening to this on the Big 550 KTRS, we appreciate you tuning in. We may be having some mic problems here in the studio, so just in case you didn't catch the opening, we're going to be talking this hour with TerrifiCon owner Mitch Hallock all about his event that he's got coming up, and you won't want to miss that event. Later on the show, we'll be talking with director Sean Mulvihill and actor Colin Mochrie about his movie Act Social. We'll get into some improv things and more with Colin, so stay tuned. Again, thank you for listening. If you're finding us out there in the world on streaming this on the KTRS streaming service, thank you. If you're streaming us on Instagram or any of the other streaming platforms, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, thank you for finding us there. Very excited to chat with our next guest. I missed him so much last year in 2020. I was excited for the Justice League reunion we had going on, and unfortunately, the pandemic kind of kiboshed everything, but we've got Mitch on the line with us right now talking about TerrifiCon. Mitch, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Thanks for the time tonight. Appreciate talking to you.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to be back.
It was such a bummer because last year I was stoked. You had nearly the entire Batman the Animated Series cast. You had the Justice League members lined up. You always have great comic book guests. And then the pandemic hit and just pushed everything back. So talk a little bit, if you would, about coming back after the pandemic.
Well, I'll tell you, like you said, it was one of those things. Everything was such amazing. It was falling into place. You know, we had the Justice League cast reunion. We even had Carl Lumley, who never does shows, was coming to. Yeah, and now it's even crazier because he was just on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yes.
And I had Batman actors, I had John Glover and all that stuff. And then, like you said, the unforeseeable happened, and we had to just pull the plug on everything, regrettably, but understandably. But now we're back. And we kind of just picked up the pieces where they fell, and we just kept our fingers crossed and hoped that things would get better. And luckily, you know, the prayers have been answered, and Connecticut's opening up this week on May 1st, on Saturday. And the governor's also got some more restrictions that are lifting on May 19th. So everything, knock on wood or my head, seems to be a go for July 30th to August 1st this year at Mohegan Sun Expo Center here in Connecticut. And a lot of the guests that were scheduled for last year, I'm happy to say, are coming back this year.
Great.
So we're gonna pick up the pieces where they fell and put it back together.
So does that? And I'm gonna go ahead and ask. And if you can't answer this right now, I do understand. Will we get Carl Lumley in 2021?
I can't answer that right now.
Okay.
So no, I can't answer that right now. But I can tell you about some of the folks that are going to be here.
Yes,
that's for certain. We got Michael Rooker, a.k.a. Yondu from the Guardians of the Galaxy. He'll be here. And even though I have not made the artwork yet, because I do all the graphics for the website, I can let you in on some secrets. His co-star in those movies, Mr. Sean Gunn, is coming back to TerrifiCon. He's been here at least twice before. Yeah, this will be Sean's third time. And it's great to have those two guys because the week after TerrifiCon, they will be appearing in the new James Gunn film, The Suicide Squad.
Yes,
it's the new DC movie. Yeah, so they're going to be back together again. So it'll be fun to have Yondu and what is his name? Kraglin from the Guardians of the Galaxy here. And again, if you're a fan of The Walking Dead, I know that Mr. Rooker was on that show for many years. We have another Marvel character and Walking Dead actor, Mr. Ross Marquand is coming to TerrifiCon. Yeah, so
the Red Skull.
Yes, the Red Skull, the demonic Red Skull of the future, or whenever he was. So he'll be here. And like I said, this is a show that is going to honor so many of the things that people grew up with, like the Batman animated series. We're going to have much of the cast there as we can. We're waiting to hear back from Mr. Kevin Conroy. He was supposed to be here last year, but I know he's busy. A lot of these voice actors, I know COVID locked a lot of industries down, but these guys have been busier than ever.
So true.
Because they're home. Yeah. They're doing what we're doing right now. They're just talking on a microphone, you know? And they're working. So I'm trying to see if Kevin's schedule will let him be here. So we're hoping for the best. And again, TerrifiCon's known for its comic book lineup, and we have so many comic book artists and writers who are once again coming to the Nutmeg State this summer to meet the fans. So that's a great thing. We've got, well, let's see who I've announced already. Well, I'm going to give you a little secret because I've been a little slacking on this. I haven't posted all the artwork yet. But Mr. Dan Jurgens
Perfect.
Fans might know him. Yeah, from all this comic book stuff. It wouldn't be a TerrifiCon if my good friend and neighbor Jerry Ordway wasn't back. Jerry's always at these shows. Alex Savick, I think I say his name right. He's coming up here, Spider-Man artist. Geez Louise, I can't think of all. Graham Nolan, he's going to be here. Ron Garney, my fellow Connecticut guy, Ron Garney's going to be here, who just had that brand new Keanu Reeves comic that broke all these records around here, The Berserker. Yeah, and he's going to be talking about his new project he's working on. I got a couple more guests.
Broderick, I'm so excited because I'm a huge Firestorm fan.
Yeah. See, the problem is I have so many guests. I just don't want to put them all up at one time because then I'll have nothing to talk about for the next 3 months, you know?
And I'm not just saying this because I've got you on the show right now. Joey V, my executive producer, will attest that I've said consistently, I came to your show for the first time in 2017, and it is literally one of the best, most well-run conventions I've ever been to. And I remember reaching out to you and I said, I'm trying to get a hold of Mitch Hallock, and this is him. Well, you're the owner.
Yeah.
You're answering the emails? And I was astonished.
I answer the emails. I answer the phone. Somebody was shocked 2 years ago at 11 o'clock on a Saturday night. They called the number, and that's my – please don't do that at 11 o'clock on Saturday night. But that's my cell phone that's on the website. And I was waiting for my son to come back from a football game in high school. And I'm in the car waiting for him to get back with the bus. And the phone rings, and I answer it. And they were like, who's this? I go, who's this? And then they go, I'm looking for TerrifiCon. I go, well, yeah, that's me. And they were shocked that I was answering the phone at 11 o'clock at night. I go, well, it's my cell phone. So there you go.
But yeah, it's always great. And like you mentioned, Jerry Ordway is probably one of the nicest guys in comic books. And you do a podcast with him on a weekly basis, the Power Cosmic podcast as well.
Yeah, we do, and we also get to eat a lot of pizza because we do it at the local pizza restaurant. We just eat our lunch, and we put the cell phone down and turn on record, and whatever we're thinking about, or whatever we've watched or talked or read, comes up on discussion. And Jerry and I just ramble on for hours sometimes, and people actually listen to it and like it. So I have no explanation for that, but thank you for doing that.
Absolutely. So when you're we've talked before, I think it's one of those, I feel like this is like a Jack Skellington situation where as soon as TerrifiCon's over, you're already working on the next TerrifiCon. And I guess having a little more time, I'm assuming this is the first time this has ever happened where you've had a year off. What's it been like? Has it made you overthink any processes? Has there been any upside to it?
No, it just made me walk my poor dog Harley so much I think her legs have worn off. But it was just one of those things where it's like being a runner at an event and you're waiting for the starting gun to go and you're in position and your muscles are tight and you just want to start sprinting down that runway and you just want to run. And that's what it's been like. I've just been standing by to stand by and, you know, making calls and keeping in contact with everybody and making sure everyone's good and healthy. And they're all like, hey, when can we come back? And I'm like, I'm just waiting for the word to go. And I'm waiting for the word to go. And I was working on the show and just, you know, we were going to just put it together as best we could. And like everyone else, just watching the news every day, you know, hoping that the numbers would get better and hoping that the vaccinations are rolling out and, you know, the sicknesses are slowly dwindling and it seems everything's going well. And and then once you see that light at the end of the tunnel, then you finally get your starting bell and you just start running for the last month or two now.
Some of the other guests you've got lined up, we've got basically a Land of the Lost reunion, which I know a lot of people are fans of that show. You've got Wesley, how do we pronounce it? Is it Yuri?
Or Wesley Ure, who was the Marshall, Will, and Holly. He was Will expedition that got lost into the Land of the Lost back in the 70s. Hey, you know what? My wife, comic books or comic book movies or anything like that, when I was talking to her about who I'm going to bring to the show, I have always thought about Land of the Lost. I said that to her. This is a woman who watches Hallmark movies and she's nonsense. And she was like ecstatic at the thought of meeting Chaka and the group. I'm like, wait, are you the woman I married for the last 28 years? And she's like, yeah. She's like, I'm getting a picture with those guys. I love that show. I used to watch it every week. And she just went on. Little did I know my wife was a Land of the Lost fan. And so, they're going to be at the show this year, especially because my wife wants to meet them. So there you go. If you're a fan, thank my wife Sharon for that.
You got several cast members from that. So, and one of the things I was wondering, because like we talked about at the beginning of the show, you originally had Batman the Animated Series and the Justice League thing. And I was wondering if that was all off the table because we've already got several Land of the Lost people. You've got a couple of Guardians people. And again, I know you can't tip your hand too much, but might we see some of those 2020 guests back in the lineup still?
Yeah, I can tell you right now who's coming back. We got George Newbern, who was Superman on the Justice League. We've got Mr. John Glover, who was the Riddler on the Batman animated series. Plus, he was Lionel Luthor on Smallville for many years. We've got my old good friend Larry Kinney, who lives up the street. He was Lino on Thundercats. He was not on those shows, but he's a big voiceover high. We have Robert Costanza, who was Harvey Bullock.
Yes.
On the Batman animated series. He's coming back to the show. We've got, I can't pronounce her name, but maybe you can help me out. Maria Carabas?
Maria Canals Barrera.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's it. I knew it's something like that.
Hawk
Sorry.
Girl,
I hope
yes.
she's not listening. She was Hawk Girl, and she was also on the show my kids used to love called Wizards of Waverly Place, which ran on Disney for years. So she's going to be coming to the show. We don't have Phil Lamar this year because we have some scheduling conflict when we had to redo it. So unfortunately, he was here in 2019. He was the Green Lantern. He will not be coming back this time. Who else from the show there? Lauren. Again, you know all this stuff. He was Robin in Nightwing.
Lauren Lester, yes.
Lauren, yep, there you go. He's coming. I should just give you the list and you can pronounce their name. Lauren Lester. And what was the other?
I think last year you had
Poison Ivy.
Yes.
Diane Pershing. That's it.
Diane Pershing. Yeah.
Yep. She's coming on back. Here's one too for you. Again, this is for my Marvel fans out there. Do you ever see Spider-Man and his Amazing fans or friends?
Yes.
Yeah, Kathy Garver, who was Firestar.
I've never met her.
Is coming out here.
Not
a lot of people have. So
I met Dan, who played Spider-Man. I've never met her, so that's brilliant.
Yep, so she's coming out here too, and I think Firestar's getting a lot of play because they just made an action figure of her. So I don't know if that means she's going to be in a movie soon or what, but there's something going on behind the scenes with the character of Firestar. We have some more voiceover folks coming too. I mean, it's such a long list. I can't even remember everybody. What's the other one? Oh, I don't know if you're a wrestling fan, and I used to be in the 80s and such. And the partner I have that works with me on my GamerCon, he is a fanatic when it comes to wrestling. He's been begging me for years to bring some folks in. I've had Jerry Lawler in. I had Road Warrior Animal. Not a big wrestling show. But this year we're going to be bringing in some folks from the AEW.
Okay.
If that means anything to you. So we have somebody, Tay Conti, and another fellow, Darby Ellen. I think that's it. Again, I'm not a wrestling guy, so if anyone's out there that's a wrestling fan, don't yell at me.
My executive producer got very excited just now when you mentioned those names, so you're on the right track.
Oh, there you go. Okay,
that's great.
Well then you can get some autographs for him there. Yeah. And I mean, even though it's a year after the COVID lockdown, it's still a big show. I mean, right now I'm making the artwork as we speak. That's what I was doing before I talked to you in Photoshop. I think there's like 60 people already. And I'm just shaking my head going, how did it get so big already,
No kidding. And
it's bad.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. Are you okay to stick with us for one more round?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, literally after we're done, I'm going to go back to Photoshop and start making more graphics. So, yeah, I've got all the time in the world.
Perfect. All right, we're going to take our next commercial break. We're going to come right back. We're going to chat some more with Mitch Hallock of TerrifiCon, so please stand by.
With so many people spending so much time in the backyard, now's...
And then advance your throttles, and you exceed the speed of light.
Send and receive secret messages with the master codes and fire the deadly atomic cannons at enemy ships. Look through the viewscope and imagine yourself whizzing through time and space. Up, 40, 50, 100,000 miles an hour. Past the moon. Above Mars. Through the millions of stars in the rings of Saturn, always protected by your powerful atomic cannons.
That's right, gang. And say, this model is a real beauty, and it makes a sensational trainer with all the scientifically scaled modern parts.
Every one of you space patrollers will want one, so you can fly along with us. Or dream up your own exciting missions. We want every boy and girl to have the thrill of owning this rocket cockpit. So get a pencil and paper. In a few minutes, we'll tell you how to get yours.
Here comes the Shoop Shoop Hula Hoop and the Frisbee family of flying fun. Now, 7 different Frisbees, 7 ways to discover the wonderful world of Frisbee flight. Frisbee, everybody's idea of a good time. Get in on the fun with the Shoop Shoop Hula Hoop, the hoop with the sound. For more tricks, more fun, get the Hoop of Champions. Frisbee and Hula Hoop, sold separately from Whammo.
It's new. Just look what you can do with Barbie's Color and Curl. You can take this special fashion wig and change the color like...
394-5524.
Thundercats! Sword of Omens, come to my hand. I, Lion-O, command it. Hi, this is Larry Kennedy, the voice of Lion-O, and you're listening to Geek To Me Radio.
Welcome back to Geek To Me Radio. I want to make sure we let you know about our official movie sponsor, Marcus Theaters. Marcus Theaters and Movie Tavern. If you go to the website, marcustheaters.com, or if you're watching this on the video, you can go to the little app and download the Marcus Theaters app. You can pull it up, and it will immediately allow you to order your tickets for Movie Tavern and Marcus. You can order your concessions right there, so they're ready for and waiting for you when you get to the theater for more contactless experience. And it's a great time to get back and see a movie. We've got a lot of great movies out right now. I feel like we're coming in at resurgence. We've got Mortal Kombat's out right now. There's Kong vs. Godzilla still in theaters. Nobody, Bob Odenkirk, you can get out and see that. And you can do it all in a safe environment. They require masks still. And you just basically keep it on unless you're sitting in your seat, eating your popcorn, drinking. And if you're really concerned, if you're still kind of in that unsure zone, we understand, and so does Marcus Theaters. You can rent a private cinema for $99 for you and 20 friends to kick back and see a movie. You can get your concessions and everything and just have a really nice time with people you might have been quarantining with this whole time anyway. It's a great time to go see a movie, and it's one of the things I missed most during the pandemic. If you haven't had a chance yet, get out and support these theaters, marcustheaters.com. You can find the Marcus Theaters and Movie Tavern closest to you and get the tickets right there online, or as I said, use the handy mobile app. Marcus Theaters, the best movie-going experience in the galaxy. Talking with con owner Mitch Hallock all about TerrifiCon, which is one of the best cons in the galaxy, in my opinion. I had a great time last time I was there. Looking forward to coming back in 2021. I can't help but notice your treasure trove of things behind you. We had Larry Houston on the show last week, and I think you rival him with all of your stuff back there. You've been a collector for years, though.
Yeah, it's kind of scary, actually, because it's down here in the basement, the man cave. I think my wife would like it if it was even further underground, like a cavern or a bottomless pit. But yeah, this is where the magic happens. This is where the boy who never grew up kind of lives and festers down here, because there's a video game here, and there's toys, and there's on the other side, there's all my omnibuses and my comic books and all my little tchotchkes, and then so many comic books. It's scary. It's like the warehouse at the end of Raiders Lost Ark and stuff. It's out there. So there's a lot out there.
And I know with your affinity, and you've got all these artists, you always have them do a Captain America. I think you've got an omnibus of Captain America sketches, don't you?
I do, actually. I've got a couple more coming this week. Yeah, I think I've got up to about 85. It started because artist Bob Layton, who's famous for working on books like Hercules and Iron Man for Marvel, at the show I did in Bridgeport, Connecticut in 2014, he comes by and he says, "Hey, who's your favorite character?" And I, Captain America, just right off the top of my head. Oh, okay. And that's about it. He just asked and walked away. And I didn't think anything about it. And then when he was leaving on Sunday, he goes, "Oh, hey, Mitch, I got something for you." And he pulls out this beautiful 11x17, fully penciled and inked Captain America by Bob Layton. And I go, "Oh, my God, how much do I owe you?" And he's like, No, it's on me.
Wow.
And that's what started the OCD, the crazy collection. And then every year I would just say, "Hey, would you draw me a Captain America?" So I've got, oh, my goodness, Steve Epting, Mark Bagley, of course, Jerry Ordway, Dan Jurgens. I can't even think of them all. They just go on and on and on. And all the guys that come to the show know that now, that I'm a huge Cap fan. So they'll draw it ahead of time, and they show up, and I almost have like a contest, like, "Oh, let's see who drew the best Captain America this time." And they just keep piling up. I really wish I had more walls in this this little area down here because I would display them all. Because I think there is about 85 of them now. They're all
Wow.
various sizes and colors. Some are in color, but most of them are black and white. Some are headshots. Some are full body. But no, they're fantastic. And my wife doesn't realize that the only reason why I do this show every year is just so I can get more Captain America drawings.
It's totally worth it from my point of view, anyway. I think it's worth it for you to be able
Oh
to get
yeah,
those
you
because
get
then I'm
it.
able
You
to
totally get
come
me.
and hang
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, you understand. See,
Exactly.
That's all.
And I will say, we ran into John Wesley Shipp at another convention, and he said that he also said that you're his favorite con that he goes to. He said it's a great time. He loves Mitch, and he wants to come back every year if you'd have him.
He does. In fact, I saw him today like something on my Facebook page, and I was thinking, you don't want to be that guy, like that bothers everybody. And the same thing with Larry Kenny. Larry lives not too far from me, and I'll, chat with him, how's his family and such. He's got a very talented daughter who does a lot of comedy TV shows. She was on a show called Reno 9/11 years ago, Carrie Kenny. And I'll say, hey, how's everything going? And Larry goes, are you going to invite me this year? And I'm like, oh, do you want to come back? He's like, well, yeah, you're my favorite show. And I'm always like, well, I don't want to keep bothering. He goes, you're not bothering me. And I'm like, oh, okay. And Larry does the voiceover for all my local commercials. And we have the movie trailers, and I promote this show at movie theaters and such. And Larry does the voice. And this is a man who's been doing voiceover work for God knows about 50 years or more.
Yeah.
I think he'll get mad. And he gets top dollar. He's the voice of Skittles, Count Chocula, Sonny the Cuckoo Bird on Cuckoo Puffs. He gets money for this stuff, and he just does it. I hope no one's listening from the union, but he does it for free for me. And everyone goes, "Is that Lion-O that does your commercials?" I go, "Yeah." They go, "How did you afford that?" I go, oh, "I just asked him." What? And they're just amazing. And again, like John Shipp too. He was at one of the first shows I ever did. It was a one-day show here in Connecticut at a hotel. And he was just in the area filming a movie, and he called me up, and I gave him a table. And we had to put him outside, too, because we didn't have any more room. We called it the Power Patio, and we put a little tent up. And he had such a great time. I think his dad is a minister. And he said the vibe of the show reminded him of those, like, church carnivals they would have growing up down south. I think he's from Louisiana. Yeah, and he just loved it. And there I am up on stage, the Natural Ham, and I'm hosting the costume contest and the trivia contest. And then we would do comedy sketches because we didn't have these big movie stars. We didn't have Chris Evans or Robert Downey Jr. And, I tried to make people get I think it was $10 to get in. So I wanted to make sure they got their money's worth. So we were out there doing like vaudeville sketches with Darth Vader costumes, and John just watched it all. He said, oh my goodness, this was so much fun. It's literally like a church revival. He was surprised if I didn't start singing with a tambourine pretty soon,
Yeah, and I will say, like I said, it's easily one of the best cons I've ever attended, and I'm excited to go back. The website is just terrificon.com, TerriFCon.com. You can get your tickets right there. Check out all the stuff. I'm sure he's working on the artwork now, so new stuff will be posted shortly. And then
I'm looking at my list. I got to go finish some more artwork for Mike McCone, Scott Hanna, Dave Johnson, Keith Williams, Lee Weeks, a lot of them. I haven't even made them yet. Yeah.
Got some Ghost Riders he can sign. That's great. And to tell everybody where they can find you, the podcast, everything like that online, if people want to keep up with you on social media.
Oh, for goodness sakes. You could actually follow me on It's TerrifiCon. That's on Twitter. And then I am on actually a bunch of stuff. I'm on the Power Cosmic podcast, which you mentioned. I'm on another podcast called the Indie Cast, which is all about Indiana Jones for the last 13 years. We're actually going to have a new movie to talk about soon. I'm on YouTube with a show called Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure, where every 2 weeks we go back and look at movies and TV shows from the past 40 years. And I'm everywhere. I'm Facebook. Just go for Mitch Hallock and look for TerrifiCon. And every day I'm up there putting up guest announcements, talking about movies, TV, toys, and more. Drawing pictures. I like to draw, so I put my artwork up there too for folks. And that's it. I'm a big nerd, and I never grew up, and I'm proud of it.
Nothing wrong with that at all. Always great to talk to you, and looking forward to TerrifiCon 2021. I can't wait to see you and hang out with all your cool people you're going to have there.
Oh, thank you. I can't wait. I'm counting the days. I think it's like 90-something days left right now. So
I'm waiting. I've already got the flights booked, ready to go.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I'll see you. I'll be there.
Absolutely. Take care. Thanks again.
Oh, thank you very much for having me on. Take care. I'll see you soon.
Take care. There he goes, Mitch Hallock, owner of TerrifiCon. Seriously, if you're looking for a convention to do here, now the pandemic's kind of opening back up, the world's kind of coming back, this is the one you want to check out. We're going to take our next break, come right back, talking with Colin Mochrie and Sean Mulvihill. Please stand by.
You know the slogan. Isn't cash in the bank better than scrap in the drawer?
Zoom it. Zoom it. Zoom it. Zoom it. Zoom it. Zoom it. Zoom it from Mattel.
What's new under the sun? Malibu Barbie.
She's Mattel's super new suntan Barbie.
Barbie's got a golden tan now. With sunny surfer gold hair.
Malibu Barbie has her own beach towel and sunglasses and Malibu friends, all with that suntan skin that makes them look great wherever they go.
They're what's new under the sun.
Malibu Barbie, Francie, and Skipper, they're the Sunset. Dolls and other costumes sold separately.
Ideal launches the Boaterific Sharkback, racing boats that change course by themselves, because they're equipped with computer pilot systems. Plug in a pilot disc, and your shark will steer the course you want automatically. You get 4 different pilot discs for 4 different maneuvers. Cruise them. Race them. They're a wild breed. The Boaterific Sharkback. They're ideal.
What's in this box? What's in this box? What's in this box? It's something for you, boys and girls. Can you guess what it is? Well, here's a hint. It's the latest thing in Space Patrol equipment. Something new and different that you saw Cadet Happy using on today's program. Can't tell you what it is because right now it's a Space Patrol secret. But get pencil and paper ready quick, because at the end of today's program, I'll be allowed to tell you what it is and how you can get it. So watch closely and get set. This is the greatest value ever offered on Space Patrol. Meantime, see if you can guess what's in this box. What's in this box? What's in this box?
Boys and girls, here's a chance for you and your family to help a crippled child get well again. Give to the March of Dimes and help little victims of infantile paralysis. Join the 1953 March of Dimes today.
Be sure to hear Space Patrol on ABC Radio every Saturday. Consult your newspaper for time and station. And be sure to join us again when Space Patrol is brought to you on television by those bite-sized cereals in the red and white checkerboard package. Wheat Jacks. Rice Jacks.
Keep listening and come back to Geek To Me Radio, will you?
I've one thing to say, and that's, damn it, Janet, I love you.
Welcome back to Geek To Me Radio. Very excited to talk to my next 2 guests. We've got director Sean Mulvihill on the video chat, and then we also have on the phones improv deity Colin Mochrie talking about their movie Act Social. We'll also talk about some other stuff while we've got them. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Well, thank you for having us.
Sean, can you hear us okay?
Me?
There, it's a little better. Can you hear me?
I just saw a sign that says Safari doesn't work very good.
No, I'm hearing you now. That's
so
good.
Maybe I should go to...
No, it's just a little bit of a delay, but you're good. So I won't watch your lips because that's what's throwing me off. But thank you both for being on. So obviously, Colin, I didn't know until recently that you and I had so much in common. We're both devastatingly handsome. We're both, if I'm not mistaken, of Scottish descent. And we've both been directed by Sean Mulvihill. So that's amazing to me.
Wow, we are in a small Venn diagram.
So we've seen you in so many things, in TV and movies and everything like that. And like I said, your improv stylings are beyond measure. Sean and I worked together before on a project, and then he directed me in a Shakespeare play. Act Social, improv is something I've always loved, and you make it look effortless. So my very first question for you, is improv something that can be learned, or is it something that some people are just innately born with the ability?
Oh, absolutely. I think you can learn it. I mean, the problem is it goes against everything we do as human beings. You're supposed to listen. You're supposed to accept ideas. You try to make the other people look good. So when people are first learning it, there's that natural reticence to do that and to sort of tamper your ego down and be part of the group and work towards the scene. But yeah, I think anyone can learn how to improvise.
And Sean, as we've discussed, you've always had a great eye for talent in your casting. Was Colin one of the very first people? I mean, when I think of improv, that's one of the first names that comes off of my top of my head. Is he one of the first people when you thought about doing Act Social, this project? Is he one of the first people that popped into your head?
Absolutely. I mean, pretty much when I think improv, I think Colin Mochrie. Those two words are synonymous in my brain.
And I love the idea of this because it's taking like a scientific look at improv. And I'm going to read a couple of the blurbs from the IMDb page. You had Republican Karl Rove performs improv with Colin and endears himself to a room half full of Democrats. You've got police do improv work with local youth to learn listening skills. And there's a doctor who helps couples come back from the brink of divorce using improv. And I know, Colin, for this project, you actually climbed into an MRI. What did we learn? And we'll let Colin answer first, and then Sean will have you follow up. But what did we learn from you getting in an MRI and doing improv, Colin?
I learned it was a horrific experience. It was 90 minutes in a tube. I was wearing a face shield. I had earphones on, and it was basically a test to see what the brain does when you improvise. So part of it was the control segment, which, for example, there was a thing where they would say, okay, we're going to say, name 3 colors. We want you to say red, white, and blue. That is your learned response. Then we'll say improvise, and then you just come up with any different colors. So you hear red, white, and blue, red, white, and blue, chartreuse, puce, scarlet. And then they would sort of take pictures of my brain to see what exactly happens when people improvise. It's kind of fascinating. The part of your brain that controls self-criticism, activity sort of shrinks, and the creative part of your brain sort of comes to the forefront.
And Sean, was this something when you planned out this whole idea of doing Act Social, was that originally on the thing is, hey, I want to check into this? Or how did the idea of having someone in an MRI doing improv come up to you?
Well, there's at UC San Francisco, this doctor of neuroscience named Dr. Charles Limb, talented jazz musician in his own right. This test, I want to say 7 years, but I could be wrong. Started with jazz musicians, and he used about 20 professional jazz musicians, and then so far he's done a handful of efficient improvisers like Colin. So they're sort of just at the forefront of the research. So I had actually heard about it from Kelly Leonard, who's at Second City. He's the director of applied improvisation at Second City. And he said, oh, you got to check out this. We're doing some research with him on a new book. The prefrontal cortex, the front large part of the brain, actually turns itself off from doing conscious self-monitoring when you improv. So Colin's essentially an expert at turning his brain off.
Yeah, it's true.
According to my 5th grade teacher, that's probably why I would be good at improv as well, because she said my brain was never on, so that's fine. And with this being, I think, especially after the year we've all had with 2020, and this film having just come out this year, and the premises behind it, like, teaching people to listen, I feel like this is something that kind of almost feels like we need to kind of pull the world back from the brink a little bit. And I feel like, I really feel, honestly, Sean, even if I didn't know that you did this movie, this is a very important film, and I think people kind of need to see it. Because I think part of the problem is people just have walls up and blinders on. We're kind of in a tenuous situation with the world the way it is right now. I think if more people just had that yes and attitude, it might kind of save everyone.
Like Colin's story with the thing about Karl Rove, and I'll let Colin relate that story to you. That really, when he told me about that, yeah, it was just like, wow, this really does affect people who have like art for this other kind of person or other, and it can change people instantly.
And with that, Colin, doing improv with Karl Rove, A, is that something you ever thought you'd be doing? And B, talk a little bit about how that went.
Okay. It's still a surreal experience to just even think about. But Brad Sherwood, who I've been touring with for 18 years, he and I were asked to do one of the Washington Correspondents' Dinner. And so we started off with doing a couple of games, and then we were going to end doing a rap song. And what happens is Brad goes into the audience, he gets someone, we talk to them, then we do a rap song based on all the information they give us. So I see Brad going out, and I see him walking towards Karl Rove, and I thought, that's odd. Why is he walking in that direction? Then the next thing I know, Karl Rove is up there between us, telling us, giving us information. Brad says, hit it, and then we improvise a rap song with Karl Rove. And then afterwards, Democrats were coming up and going, you bastards, what you made him seem human. And our thing was, our basic thing was to save our own asses. We had a show we had to do, and okay, we apologize for that. The next day, Karl Rove called us up, invited us to the White House, said, my kids called me. I've become like a hero in their eyes. We took a tour of the White House. He introduced us to the president and the vice president. It was just a bizarre 24 hours.
And I think it's one of those things, like I said, just comedy really is kind of a healing thing. And I love that, like I said, the police learning to do this with local youth, kind of these listening exercises. I feel like and when I asked you at the beginning, Colin, is improv something you can learn? Luckily, your answer was yes, it can be learned. But I think obviously, just like with any kind of acting skill, some people are just born with an edge and able to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the kind of improv you do, and the kind of improv I do. Yes, there are a lot of people who it just comes naturally to, but there are a lot of people who can certainly learn to improvise. Someone once said, you can't teach someone to be funny. You can teach them to be funnier. And with improv, there's many different aspects to a scene. There are some people who excel at doing the narrative. Some people excel at doing characters. So there's many different ways you can still add to a scene. And I think that's the important thing about improv. It truly is an ensemble sport. It's a really hard thing to do by yourself. You need everyone sort of feeding each other to get to the same objective, to make a great scene, to get to a good ending. So, if the world started doing more improv, it would be a better universe.
And with you having done so much on Whose Line Is It Anyway, just the longevity of that show, what do you attribute the longevity? I mean, it's been on for decades, literally, and it's found new life on the CW. To what do you attribute the longevity of that show?
Yeah, it's. I wish I knew. I mean, it's been on the air for over 30 years. I think when we first came on, it was just so different. Nobody knew what improv was really. It was so different from any of the sitcoms. And then after we were gone for a while, people kids that weren't born during the Drew Carey show started watching it on the internet, seeing it on YouTube, and again, got fascinated by it. I think part of it is it's just the mystery of it all. We don't know where the scene is going to go. The audience certainly doesn't. And it's sort of a fun journey to see what happens. It's just exciting to see, okay, all these guys, they have barber and auto mechanic as a suggestion. Now they have to come up with a major musical. How are they going to do it? So I think the audience is also a little invested in it because they want it to work. They want their suggestions to make the scene amazing. So it truly is a collaborative between the audience, between the improvisers. It's really unique.
And we should mention, too, if you have a question that you'd like to ask either Sean or Colin, you can shoot us a text on the KTRS text lines. Just text us at 84126. Just include your first name, like James from St. Louis, so I know who to give the shout out to and who's asking the question. You can text that to us at 84126. We do have some comments coming in on the Facebook live feed. We have an Amy Robertson says that she and her husband Byron are the inventors of the Colin Mochrie fan club. To which Ryan Cooper has said that he and his significant other, Emily, are the president and co-founder. So I think there's a little bit of a war on Facebook going over who your biggest fan is right now, Colin. But lots of people, obviously, you've touched a lot of lives in your many, many years on the doing all these performing. And we want to talk about a little bit more of that. I'm going to take a real quick commercial break. You're okay to stick with me for another segment, Colin?
Sure.
I think we may have lost Sean. We're going to get Sean back. So please stand by. You're listening to Geek To Me Radio on the Big 550 KTRS.
This is ABC Television Network. This is it, gang. The greatest value in official Space Patrol equipment we've ever offered. 4-power, full-field, fixed-focus space binoculars that you can see way off in the distance with. Hold them in your hand or wear them on your head like Major Robertson is doing. Just think, he's watching Cadet Happy and he's blocks and blocks away. See, here's how Hap looks to Major Robertson through his space binoculars. Yes, sir, space binoculars make everything in the distance look bigger, closer, and clearer.
And boys and girls, the space binoculars you get be exactly like mine. They'll have 4 powerful, pure lucite lenses. They'll have this elastic band to hold them in place in your head. And they'll have Space Patrol written on the front, just like mine have.
To get a pair of space binoculars exactly like Buzz Corey's, buy a box of Instant Ralston. Then, with your name and address, send 25 cents in coin and an Instant Ralston box top to Space Patrol, Box 812, St. Louis, Missouri. If you don't agree that your binoculars are tops, return them. We'll return your money. That's Space Patrol, Box 812, St. Louis, Missouri. Hey, have you guessed what Buzz Corey has for you in the mystery box? Well, let's take a look and see if you're right. Oh, boy, look. A pair of those wonderful new Space Patrol space binoculars. Jumpin' Jupiter, are they ever terrific? Remember how Hap looked through them and saw the commander way, way off in the distance flashing that light at him? Well, you'll be able to see that way, way off in the distance with yours, too. Yes, sir, these are real 4-power plastic binoculars. And when you look through them, they make everything in the distance look bigger and closer and clearer. Fun? Man, oh, man. See these kids coming out of school? Pretty far away, aren't they? But, wow, look at them now. Here's how you'd see them through space binoculars. Yes, sir, space binoculars bring things right up close to you. Boy, think of the fun. You can study birds in the trees. See people coming blocks away. See baseball players bigger and clearer. And do hundreds of other exciting things with your...
.org.
Hi, this is Jonathan Katz, and you are listening to Geek To Me Radio, coming to you live from your radio or your computer. It's a show you can listen to. You see what I'm saying? You can hear it. This is something you shouldn't expect to see anything. It's a radio show.
Little did Jonathan Katz know we'd be streaming this on Instagram and on Facebook and Twitch. Lo and behold, 3 years later after we started the radio show. But we're back. We're talking with Colin Mochrie and Sean Mulvihill about Act Social. It's their film that they have that talks about the scientific method behind improv and all the good it can do in the world, which I think it's a great message, especially after the year we've just come off. We did have another comment here on the Facebook. Colin, Bill Blanky says, thanks for the years and years of laughter. And we have Amy Robertson wanted to know, what is your favorite improv game?
Oh, I mean, it's hard because you go through cycles where some games you just hate after a while. But the one game from Who's Line that I've always enjoyed and have never tired of is being Greatest Hits. Because it always gave Ryan and I a chance to sort of banter, and we got to sit down, which is gold. And then we would pass it over, to the amazing musical improvisers like Wayne or Brad or Chip Heston, Jeff Davis, and then get to watch them make sense of whatever title we gave them. So it was a great scene to be a participant and also to be an audience member in.
And Sean, you've done a lot of improv as well with all your stuff you've got going. Do you have a favorite improv game, Sean?
I want to know. Actually, I have a question for Colin.
Oh.
Like the people on Whose Line love Scenes from a Hat more than any other game. Like they scream like ah! Why is that? Why do they like it so much more than the other games?
It's a perfect game for today's attention span. It's just one-liners. It's fast. I think that's what it is. It's a quick jolt of funny.
And I have a question, Colin. I was looking over your IMDb thing. One of your very first, it's listed anyway. I know IMDb is sometimes incorrect, so I'm going to go right to the source and ask you. The first movie credited for you is 1983 Space Hunter, Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. And that had a cast of Peter Strauss, Molly Ringwald, Ernie Hudson, Michael Ironside, which was that's like a billboard for 80s stars. Is that indeed your first role, or is IMDb incorrect?
No, that is actually my first role. I got upgraded from an extra. I got a line where I get to capture Molly Ringwald and take her to Michael Ironside, who's the villain. And my line was, "You can ask the chemist." It was a 3D space opera. It was supposed to rival Star Wars, and it didn't quite. Not really.
But I mean, it's 80s movies, so 80s movies to me are like pizza. Even when they're bad, they're good. So I think it was brilliant.
Sure. I mean, I had a really solid storyline. 3 intergalactic models are kidnapped by a half-man, half-cyborg named Overdog, and then 2 bounty hunters try to find them. It seems like box office gold.
I'm surprised they haven't remade it, quite honestly, with what Hollywood's doing these days. Why haven't they remade this one?
Hey, hold on. Okay, yeah.
And so with that when you upgrade from extra to getting a line, did you workshop it a lot, like Kramer in that Seinfeld episode? These pretzels are making me thirsty. Did you workshop the line?
No, it all happened within 5 seconds.
Oh my gosh!
The director, and it was odd. It was a 3D movie being directed by a one-eyed director, and he came up and said, "Okay, I need someone who looks really scary." And I was like 20. I was very skinny. I did have a good costume on, and I think that was what sold it.
And then all the other stuff you've worked on, The Outer Limits, which I love every single iteration of The Outer Limits. Sometimes The Twilight Zone, when they try to remake it, sometimes that has misses for me. The Outer Limits always is consistently good, and you were in that with Mackenzie Phillips from One Day at a Time, but you've been in Lucky Numbers with John Travolta and Lisa Kudrow. As an actor, what is one thing that you've learned from one of these TV or movie projects that has kind of stayed with you over the years?
Oh, God, good question. Just from watching other, like John Travolta was amazing in that he was one of those guys, like Robin Williams when he came on Whose Line, knew the crew's name within an hour. And I think that's important to having a good feeling on a film set. So I always try to make sure, and Lord knows, I'm never in a big budget movie or the star of a big budget movie, but I always make sure I learn the crew's names, who they are, because everyone is doing their best in this movie. Some people just don't get their names over the title, but everyone is working as hard as anybody else. So even just that makes someone feel like they're a part of something.
And you did mention Robin Williams. We had a question come in on the Facebook feed from David Pottist, wants to know, working with Robin Williams, you kind of touched on it briefly there, but was it intimidating at all having him on the show?
Well, yeah. I mean, he had inspired all of us. He was an Oscar winner, and he was doing our show. But within, 5 minutes of meeting him, he just had that gift of making you feel at ease. And then he was just one of the guys. I mean, obviously one of the, more super talented, Oscar-winning guys, but still. And he was, again, just very giving, very generous, everything an improviser is supposed to be. So it was special for all of us.
And we have another question. Paul Hickey wants to know, Colin, what's the craziest thing that has ever happened between you and Ryan Stiles? And remember, we've got the FCC to answer to, so keep it clean.
Jeez. You know what? I have no idea. I mean, the beauty and the curse of improv is once you've done a scene, it's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, there are times I'll be watching, flipping through channels, whose line will come on, and I'll watch, and I'll go, oh, that's me. I have no recollection of doing this scene. I wonder where it's going to go. But yeah, I'm sure it was something on Whose Line. I mean, Ryan and I have been friends for over 40 years, and off camera, it's fairly normal. We play golf, or we would have barbecues at each other's house. But on screen was where the wacky stuff would happen.
And we're talking with Colin Mochrie and Sean Mulvihill about Act Social. Sean's the director on the film. If you want to see it, Sean, what are the best places? Actually, I should mention that while we're talking about it. What are the best places for people to view it? Is it streaming? Is it strictly online?
Right now, it's exclusively on actsocialfilm.com.
So they can go there and just purchase film right from the website. And so, Colin, what appealed to you about this particular movie when Sean approached you?
Well, first of all, he asked me to be in it. So right there,
there's that, yeah.
He had me. But I found it, I mean, one of the first things I heard about this was his idea was to, go to the UN and get an improv game happening with, all the leaders of the world. And I thought, okay, I don't think that'll ever happen. But anyone who has that sort of, positivity and insight, I want to be a part of it. And then just talking to him and working with him, it was just the right thing to do. And I truly believe in the message of this movie. My wife and I actually made a concerted effort about 15 years ago to use improv in our lives, to actually use yes and more, maybe say things a little outside of our comfort zone, see where that took us. And it ended up sort of opening up our lives, taking us places we'd never been, that we may not have gone the year before, meeting these amazing people. And it's helped us not make rash judgments on people, where I take it as it goes. I try not to have any preconceived ideas about any situation or any person I meet, because a lot of times I've been wrong. So I just go with hopefully an open mind, an open heart, see where it takes me.
Yeah, and I think that's a great thing. So Sean, have we moved anywhere with getting any of the UN people? I think back when Boutros Ghali was the Secretary General, I think you would have had a shot. But any word from anyone now?
An email today from someone who's doing a partisanship workshop at the UN, and I've been introduced to this person. So who knows? Maybe it'll happen this year. We'll keep feelers. And one of the other gentlemen in the film is a professor at Columbia and Baruch here in New York City. And he wrote a book, it just got published, called Improv for Democracy. And so he's actually sort of promoting that book, and he works with these different organizations that's what they're trying to do, is bring. Thing is, look, the status quo, what we're doing now, it's obviously not working. We just try anything else at this point. And improv is one of those anything else's of his sales pitch right now. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. There's people that are working on it to get there.
That's all you can ask. I mean, that's great. And unfortunately, the hour flies by. I feel like we could have you guys here and talk to you for like another hour and a half at least about just this film and all about improv and everything else. But since we're wrapping it up, I want to make sure people know where they can keep up with you guys on websites and stuff like that. So, Sean, where can people find you online?
Go to actsocialfilm.com, and everything about the film and about me is there.
And Colin, Twitter handles, Instagram, social media, websites?
Yep, at Colin Mochrie. That's the only one I can remember. ColinandBradShow.com. Brad and I have been doing virtual shows for the last month or last 4 months, and we're going to continue that until we can go somewhere. And that's PassportShows.com. And aside from that, who knows?
All right. Well, hopefully now that we're seeing the light at the end of the pandemic tunnel, hopefully some more live shows will be happening, because I've never seen you live, Colin, and it would be a treat to see you do live performance.
Oh, absolutely. It's a real treat. It's fantastic. You'd love it.
I have no doubt. And according to the Twitter feed and everything else we've got coming in the comments here, it's a lot of other people will be there in the front row as well. So, gentlemen, this has been fantastic. Thank you both. Sean Mulvihill, Colin Mochrie, thanks so much for your time tonight, and have a great rest of the weekend.
Oh, thanks for having us on.
Take care. Be well. And we'll make sure we tell you real quick before we go about our premier sponsor, the City of St. Charles, the Greater St. Charles Convention and Visitors Bureau. And you can check out the website, discoverstcharles.com. You can plan your trip if you're wanting to get out and travel a little bit. Maybe you've been vaccinated and you want to get out and see the world again. Go see St. Charles. Lots to see and do if you're a history buff, if you're a foodie, if you like unique shopping stuff. All sorts of places. You can stay while you're there, from little bed and breakfasts all the way up to world-class hotel accommodations. And if you go to the website, discoverstcharles.com, you can see it all right there, as we always say, for an historically good time. I want to thank Joey V, my executive producer, for putting all this together, making everything sound good. Thank you for all the people who watched on Instagram. Thank you for everyone who watched on Facebook and Twitch TV and YouTube. We're going to do it again next week with some fantastic guests, as we do every Sunday here in the Big 550 KTRS. Until next week, my friends.
It's not in the way you watch iZombie. It's not in the way you watch The Flash. It's not in the way you love Scotty Young art. It's not in the way you play Mario Kart. It's not in the way you look when you make Game of Thrones references. That's our show. This is Geek To Me Radio. That's our show. This is Geek To Me Radio.
Thank you, United Nations. Good night.
This is the Big 550 KTRS St. Louis. Ball